It's that time of year again. We are 9 days away from the first game of the 2023 NFL season, which means a lot of fantasy leagues will be having their drafts over the next week. Personally, I am in 3 money leagues and I'm looking to make some cash this fantasy season. And I'm sure, like me, a lot of you fantasy footballers are looking for those sleeper picks to help get your team to the top. In this video, I'm going to give you 4 players who are going late in fantasy drafts who I think will have a better season than experts are projecting. If you're enjoying the content, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for all the support. Now, let's help win your fantasy league. First, let's head to Houston and discuss rookie wideout Tank Dell. Now, I know what you're thinking. CJ Stroud is a rookie QB and most certainly will not be great out of the gate like most rookies, but Dell is going so late in the drafts that it makes this pickup so worth it. Stroud will most certainly improve as the season goes on, and Tank Dell is a favorite in my opinion to be the beneficiary. The Texans wide receiver depth chart right now has Dell listed as the second wide receiver 2 behind veteran Robert Woods and Nico Collins. In my opinion, Dell has a great chance to slide into the wide receiver 3 spot as a slot receiver immediately, and as he develops rapport with Stroud as the season goes on, he can have a solid 700 to 800 yard season. In fantasy drafts, Dell is going as a wide receiver 69, putting him at 199 overall according to fantasypros.com. This means Dell is going undrafted in the majority of drafts. I'd say it's worth taking Dell with one of your later round picks, maybe 13th or 14th round, and just stashing him on your bench for the first couple of weeks just to see how well he acclimates himself into the Texans wide receiver rotation. This, in my opinion, is a very low risk but high reward pick because if he doesn't bloom, then you drop him, but if he does, then you have him and can slide him into that flex position some weeks or trade him when his value is at the highest. Now on Chicago and Khalil Herbert. Now again, I know what you're thinking. They already have a running back, Justin Fields. Yes, Fields will definitely take his share of carries in that offense, but the Bears have always had a run-heavy offense, and while they did pick up DJ Moore in the offseason, I really don't think that will change their game plan that much. Now more about Herbert. The past couple of seasons he was playing behind David Montgomery, but now that he's gone, Herbert should see a significant uptick in his carries this upcoming season as the RB1 for the Bears. Even when playing behind Montgomery, Herbert had fantasy value. Check out this little excerpt from clutchpoints.com. Herbert had 731 yards on 129 carries with 4 rushing TDs. That averages out to about 5.6 yards per carry, which is extremely efficient running. Herbert has a chance to eclipse 200 carries this season, which would definitely put him in a range of a 1,000-yard season. Right now, according to Fantasy Pros, Herbert is going as the RB34, which averages him at about the 89th overall position in the draft. This puts him at about the 7th or 8th round in most drafts. I think that is fantastic value for a guy who has a ton of potential to have a career year. I think he's a very valuable option at your flex position or as a backup running back if you draft your running backs early. Now on to Baltimore for another rookie wide receiver, Zay Flowers. I've been high on Flowers since the second the Ravens selected him in the draft. He's already made his way up to the number 1 spot for the wide receiver 3 on the Ravens depth chart, and I believe he's poised for another great season with Lamar Jackson. Another big reason I'm extremely high on Flowers is because of the injury history of the other receivers on this roster. Now, obviously, they both could have healthy seasons, and that's what I'm hoping for Bateman and Odell, but their track record over the past few seasons has not been the best, with Odell coming off yet another ACL tear, and there's no telling how explosive he will be. Flowers has elite after-the-catch abilities, and he's been a standout at Ravens training camp. During the preseason, in his lone action, Flowers caught 2 balls for 37 yards and a touchdown. According to Fantasy Pros, Flowers is going as the wide receiver 43 and the 103rd overall pick. This puts him at about the 8th or 9th round in most drafts. This is great value for a guy who, in my opinion, is poised to have a wide receiver 1 or 2 type season for the Ravens. I take Flowers and stash him on your bench, or if you're feeling risky, slide him into the flex slot right away. After a few weeks of this season, you won't be disappointed that you picked him. Now on to Kansas City. I'm sure if you've been keeping up with the Chiefs this season, you've heard about this guy, Justin Ross. Ross was injured all of last season, but he battled his way through it and was named to the 53-man roster this week. Patrick Mahomes has to continue to praise Ross throughout the preseason, and there's a great chance that Ross can be an impact receiver in a Chiefs receiving room that has a lot of questions outside of Travis Kelce. Ross is 6'4" and 209 pounds, making him a red zone threat for Patrick Mahomes. Ross is currently listed as 3rd on the KC depth chart, but with questions about Kadarius Toney's health at this point in time, Ross can make the jump as the season rolls on. Ross is another very low risk but high reward pick, as according to Fantasy Pros, he's going undrafted in most drafts and is the wide receiver 77 and the 220th overall pick. Ross is the kind of guy you draft with your last couple of picks of the draft and stash away and see how he progresses as the year goes on. Ross has great potential as a red zone target, so he could have huge upside as a late round pick. Tank Dell, Khalil Herbert, Zay Flowers, and Justin Ross. the 4 names that you should consider on your draft board come draft day. If you guys want more sleepers in fantasy, just let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know your sleeper picks for this year in fantasy. Good luck to you all this fantasy season, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.